Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Ben Scar, as I mentioned before. I'm one of the vice principals here. I think we'll get ourselves started. We have a lengthy presentation with lots of information for you this evening. And we have a couple of staff members here that we'll introduce as we go through the evening. And they'll be sharing some of the information that will hopefully help all of our families who are just starting to embark on the course selection process, starting to think about next year. It's hard to believe we are not even in springtime yet, and here we are thinking about what's coming for next year. Just a note for everybody, we are having this meeting recorded, so if there's some information that you'd like to kind of review and see later, we will share that information on our website a little bit later on. So if there's something that was missed, don't worry too much. I'm going to share my screen, but I'm also going to unshare my screen at times to let people introduce themselves and to hear from a few folks who have joined us this evening. So just bear with me as we work through our technology. And hopefully this will be something that you find is helpful and beneficial for you and your child as they are starting to think about next year. Okay, so let me just quickly share my screen here. Just bear with me for 1 sec. Here we go. Is that showing everyone? Shelley, can you see it? Yeah, perfect. Okay, great. Okay, so welcome to our course planning night. I do want to just start by acknowledging that we are meeting this evening, at least our staff here at North Delta, is meeting this evening on the territories of the Tsawwassen and Musqueam First Nations. I would like to pay my respects to all the elders from both of those nations who have been stewards of this land since time immemorial and who continue to help guide us in our journey towards truth and reconciliation today. So again, we're coming from our lovely library here at ND, and as I mentioned, there's a few folks that I'll introduce you to over the course of the evening and as we go through some of the information that's here. One thing I want everybody to be aware of is if you have questions that are coming to you as the presentation is occurring, please feel free to use the chat function in Teams to place those questions in the chat. We have my administrative partners who I will introduce you to in a moment who are monitoring the chat, looking to see if they can answer questions as best they can. If there are additional questions that are still lingering at the end, please stick around. We'll see if we can answer those with you. And again, if there's any sort of more personal questions, things like that, you'd rather not ask in front of everybody, there is some contact information that we'll put up near the end. So feel free to reach out to us here at the school, and we'd be happy to try to answer questions as best we can. Okay, so a little bit about our school to begin. Some of you, I'm sure, know quite a bit about ND. We tend to have a few families with parents who attended North Delta Secondary back in the day, as we say. And the school's been around for a while. It's been around since 1957. It's one of the very first high schools in North Delta. As some of you know, it used to actually be a senior secondary, and then Delta reconfigured their schools so that all of the secondary schools were 8 to 12, and so that's what we are now. We have a population just shy of 1,360 this year. We expect that to be very, very similar for next year. And the nice thing about having a larger school is that it really provides us with an opportunity to have lots of different options. When you have a bigger school, larger facility, larger staff, larger number of individuals working with kids, you tend to have a little bit more variety. And so that's one of the benefits we have here at North Delta Secondary. Lots of different programs and opportunities for both academic and extracurricular activities that students can get involved in. So we're really, really proud of what we've got here. And I think a lot of our students are very proud Huskies here in our community. I'll just take a quick moment to introduce our administration team, and I'll let each of Ms. Sahuda and Mr. Nikic introduce themselves. So just to note, the numbers you're seeing for our grades there is what we have this year for our ND admin team. Next year, Mr. Nikic and I will move along with the groups that we've been working with. So I will work with grade 8s and grade 10s next year, and he will continue to work with the current grade 8 group when they move into grade 9, and the grade 11s. Ms. Sahota likes to take care of our grade 12s, being in their grad year, and I'd like to just take a moment to stop presenting here for a moment from my screen and let Ms. Sahota say a couple of words of welcome to everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Scar. So welcome, everyone. My name is Sonia Sahota. I'm the proud principal of North Delta Secondary. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, students and families. We're excited to be able to share with you our course selection process, which is so very important. We hope that you're able to get all of your questions answered today. If not, we do have the chat where you can post a question. Myself and Mr. Nikic, the vice principal, will answer for you. We also have a number of staff who have taken time out of their evening to join us today, so thank you to all of them. And for some of our families who are more comfortable in Punjabi, we do have some staff who are able to answer your questions in that language as well. So do enjoy the evening and let us know if there's any way that we can support you in your educational journey. Thank you, Mr. Scar.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sahota. Mr. Nikic, do you want to say a quick hello to everyone?
Hello, my name is Vlad Nikic. I currently work with grade 8 and 10 students. Like Mr. Scar said, I'm moving along with my students when they're in grade 9 and 11 next year. Feel free to contact me at any time by email if you have any questions, concerns, or share some good news as well. I'm very happy to work with North Delta students. It's been a great experience so far, and yeah, looking forward to learning more about them.
Amazing. Thank you, Mr. Nikic. Actually, I'll take just a quick moment to introduce the other staff who are going to join us this evening. So I've got two of our amazing 4 counselors who are with us. So maybe I'll just take a quick moment to have Ms. Cipriano and Ms. Kyrie introduce themselves.
Hi there, I'm Ms. Cipriano, one of the counselors here working with the grade 10s and some of the grade 12s this year. Thank you for watching tonight and welcome.
Hi, and I'm Ms. Kara, working with the grade 9s and the grade 12s.
Awesome, thank you both. And we also are fortunate to have Ms. Shelley Jaloye joining us this evening. She's our careers teacher here at ND. Ms. Jaloye, do you want to just say a quick hi?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here, and I'm going to take some time in this presentation just to introduce you all to our career programs options that are available to your children as well.
Awesome, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to reshare my screen and we'll continue along with our presentation. Again, make use of that chat if you can to ask your questions that may be coming up. And if you have any remaining questions at the end, just hang on to those. There's very likely others who will have similar questions. So we took a moment to meet 2 out of our 4 counseling team this year. Ms. Bluen and Ms. Bazurska also work with some of our other grades. And as you can see, all of our students, all of our grade 12s work with our counselors as they go into that final year of high school. Lots of work to do to make sure things are prepared for graduation and everything's as ready as possible for post-secondary. We have a great admin team, great counseling team as well. Great counseling team who's able to help with students who may have course selection challenges, who are asking questions about post-secondary, but of course, most importantly, are there for social emotional support. Sometimes students just need a confidential person to chat with and discuss a situation, and our counseling team does an amazing job of that. We also have a couple of youth care workers who work with some of our students. So students who sometimes need a little bit of extra guidance, a little bit of modeling, again, a different voice or a different person to share some thoughts and challenges with. That's something that our child and youth care workers can do. So we have 3 great people who work with a number of our students here at the school, which is awesome. And we also have, and you've already met Ms. Deloy there, we also have a great Career Center staff here who work with our older students, helping to prepare them for opportunities for post-secondary and also for scholarships. And later on in the meeting, we will have a specific section that we'll go through to talk about those of us in the audience who are thinking now much more and more about what's coming after high school. For those of us with students going into grade 11 next year or going into grade 12, definitely starting to think about what the next stages and phases of life will be. So these folks here will be incredibly helpful resources to guide students through that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over now to Ms. Kyra, who's going to go through a little bit about grad requirements and some of the specific course offerings that we have.
All right, hi everyone. So I'll just start with grad requirements. So from grade 10 to grade 12, you need a total of 80 credits in order to graduate. You need English. I'm going to go in detail with that after. So you need an English 10, an English 11, and an English 12. Social studies 10, and either a social studies 11 or 12, a science 10 and a science 11, math 10, math 11, PE 10, one fine arts or applied skills, and then the remainder of your credits will come from electives, so 28 electives after that, and 2 career courses, career life education in grade 10, and then CLC and capstone in grade 12. Next slide. Did we skip one?
I think you skipped one.
Can we go back one? Oh, okay. So starting this year, every student needs an Indigenous focused course in order to graduate. You can fulfill that requirement either with English First Peoples 12 or English First Peoples 11, or a social studies course, which is BC First Peoples 12. There will be a total of 3 government assessments, which start in grade 10. So in grade 10, we have our numeracy assessment, which is for math grade 10, and then we have our literacy assessment in grade 10. In grade 12 is the last one, which is only a literacy assessment. There is not a grade given on any of these assessments, but just it's on a scale, so either emerging, developing, proficient, or extending.
And if I can just add real quickly to that, currently the only assessment that is looked at beyond high school is the grade 12 literacy assessment. UBC does look at that score as part of its admission. We might talk about that a little bit later. But the remaining assessments and for other institutions, the expectation is just that students do the best they can in those assessments. There's no specific score that you have to achieve in order to meet grad requirements. You just have to do it, and you have to do the best that you can at it.
Yes, and for UBC, you need 3 or higher. So that's what they're looking for, but we'll talk about that later as we progress. So required courses for grade 9, students need English 9, social studies 9, science 9, math 9, which can be principles, fundamentals, or challenge, PE 9, and applied skills, fine arts, and any other elective, which sometimes can be French. Next slide. In grade 10, you need an English lit course, so that will be our literary studies for 4 credits, PE 10. Okay, for English, there's more than one choice. You can either have creative writing 10 or new media 10, but actually you already talked about hockey. So if you're in hockey, you can't take new media. So, but everybody else can take either creative writing or new media. Social studies 10, one of the maths, workplace or foundations and pre-calculus, science 10, PE and career life, and then 2 electives. Next slide. In English, in grade 10, we also are offering a Connections 10 cohort. So during this cohort, the students will get to work together for a whole semester with particular teachers on all 4 of these courses together. And then the next semester, they'll get to pick various courses. The nature of the cohort will be more hands-on. You'll be able to have more field trips. There is a cost involved in this. And the courses that will be focused on will be Career Life 10, Social Studies 10, Science 10, PE, and Health Education 10. Next slide. Grade 11, now you get to have more choices. So for grade 11, must have English 11, Social Studies 11 or 12, so one or the other, Science 11, Math 11, and then 4 electives. Next slide. Options for English. So creative writing 11, where the focus is more on exploring what you like, coming up with different stories, memoirs, ideas that you express through writing, which is not based on analyzing, but just writing. English First Peoples 11 will be a focus of English themes with the First Peoples ideas and looking at literature that is First Peoples based. New Media 11 will look at various digital examples, look at media, look at society, how society is influenced by technology and communicating ideas using various media items while you're writing. Science 11 options. So you can have Science for Citizens, Life Science 11, which used to be called Biology, Chemistry 11, and Physics 11. So all sciences are not completely equal. We would recommend that if you're going to go into Science 11 or Physics 11, that you have strong math skills. So it is recommended to have at least a C+ in pre-calculus math 10 for Chemistry 11 and Physics 11. It will just make things easier. You'll be more successful. If that is if you have at least a C+. That's what we're recommending. If for some reason you really want to take Chemistry 11 and Physics 11 and you don't have that mark, go to summer school, redo it, strengthen your math skills before attempting those courses so you are successful. Next slide. Life Sciences 11, that's Biology 11. And then we have Biology 12. I can take one or the other. Okay, Chemistry 11, Chemistry 12, Physics 11, and Physics 12, and then Science for Citizens 11 as well, which is quite a bit easier than our other sciences. Social Studies 11 and 12 options, many options here. These are all the social studies courses that are approved by the majority of post-secondary institutions. So Law Studies 12, Social Justice 12, World History 12, Genocide Study 12, and BC First Peoples 12. We also have 2 other social studies courses. I think we're gonna come up. No. Which is psychology, but it's not approved. But you can still take it for interest. All right.
Sorry, Ms. Kyrie, maybe I'll jump in there. Yeah,
Sure.
What Ms. Kyrie was alluding to is we do offer Psych 11, Psychology 11, and Psychology 12, but those courses are not recognized by the Ministry of Education as courses that will meet the senior social studies grad requirement, and that's why they're not listed here. Students absolutely can take those as an elective option if that's an interest, but they must take one of these other courses as well to meet their social studies requirement. Folks, you may notice that there are no grade 11 listed courses here, yet at the top it says social studies 11/12 options. What the requirements are for BC is that students take a grade 11 or grade 12 level social studies course to meet their requirements. What we offer here at North Delta for next year is all grade 12 level courses, but that should not deter or scare away grade 11 students. Most of our senior socials courses are almost evenly split 50-50 between grade 11 and grade 12 students. So any students or parents who are watching tonight who are thinking, yikes, I don't want my child to be signing up for a grade 12 course, they're just going into grade 11, fear not. It is something that is very much expected and has been happening here for the last few years at ND with great success. So don't be afraid if you're in grade 11 to consider taking a grade 12 level social studies next year. As long as you take one of these between now and the end of your grade 12 year to meet that grad requirement, you're in good shape.
So Law 12 is a study of the Canadian court system, criminal law, civil rights, divorce law. Genocide studies is a study of various political, social, economical, and cultural implications of genocide and the various stages of genocide on society. Next slide. Yeah. History 12 deals with World War I, World War II, the Cold War. It's similar to Social Studies 10 with more in-depth look at the wars and world history overall. Social justice is a study of oppression and injustice in Canadian society, looking at various topics such as racism, poverty, inequality, and current social injustices that are happening and ones that have happened already. BC First Peoples 12 will be a social studies course with a focus of world views and languages of the First Peoples, BC First Peoples. They'll be looking at various themes such as colonialism, impact of contact, the various impacts that history has made on the political, social, and economic lives of BC First Peoples. And this course, yes, does meet the requirement, the Indigenous course requirement for graduation. All right, grade 12. This is when you have the most choice. But once again, when you're looking at the various courses, decide which area you'll be going into after grade 12 when you're choosing your electives, and we'll go into more detail in that shortly. So the only required course will be English Studies 12 or English First Peoples 12. That's the only required course. After that, you need additional 3 grade 12 level required courses. So a total of 4 courses that are grade 12 level, and then a total of 4 electives, as well as career life connections and capstone. Next slide. English 12 studies, if I would say it's like our traditional English, looking at various literature writing, essay writing, looking at analyzing literature, and then English First Peoples, very similar to English 12 studies, but with the focus of First Peoples perspectives. Okay, what about a language? You do not need a language to graduate, but certain post-secondary institutions do require a language. Most of them are getting away from it. Only UBC requires a language 11 for all faculties, but SFU accepts beginner languages, so an introductory language as well, or a language 11. For other institutions, there are no language requirements, but once again, always look in case things change. This is for directing. This is, yes. So when we say requiring a language, this is if you're going to go straight from grade 12 to UBC, straight from grade 12 to SFU, not if you're doing a transfer credit program. Okay. What are the language options at ND? We have French from grade 8 to 12, introductory French 11, introductory Spanish 11, and Spanish 11 and 12, and then introductory Punjabi 11 and Punjabi 11 and 12. If a student is proficient in various other languages that we do not offer, you do have an opportunity to write a challenge exam. For the challenge exam, it's written and oral. You have to be proficient in both aspects. Usually the exam takes place in January. You come and see us, fill out a registration package and write it. It's usually on a weekend, and that happens. And then you will get credit for a language 11 and or a language 12. So see your counselor for more information. Okay. The math question. What math should be taken? So there are 3 different pathways to math. Workplace math is designed for students who are most likely to go into the areas of trade or direct entry into the workforce. Foundations math, depending on your program, certain programs will accept foundations and it is a little bit less difficult than pre-calculus, but you're still looking at key concepts such as understanding math, critical thinking, but not a focus on calculus. Pre-calculus is designed for students who are strong in math, most likely want to pursue university in the fields of science and engineering and business, computer science, sometimes in some areas a particular trade, but the majority of the faculties at UBC SFU will want you to have pre-calculus. Okay, next slide. So here's what the pathways look like. So in grade 8, there's principles of math 8, and then a student will move on to math 9, principles of math 9, and from there you can branch out. So either you can take foundations of math and pre-calculus 10, and then take that pathway and continue going down towards the pre-calculus route. So pre-calculus 11, pre-calculus 12, and then calculus. Or you can move from principles 9 to pre-calculus and then move on to foundations 11 and then foundations 12. Now you can, the third pathway is you can go from principles 9 to workplace 10 and then follow the stream to from workplace 10 to workplace 11 and workplace 12. Also in grade 8, if you were not particularly strong and you don't want to continue with along the routes of pre-calculus, you can move towards fundamentals 9 and then just move slowly towards workplace until you get to workplace 12. All right. No? Okay. So direct entry into university. For arts, you will require, most arts programs will require pre-calculus 11 or foundations 11 and 12. Science requires pre-calculus 11 and 12. Engineering and business, they all require pre-calculus 11 and 12. If you are not strong in math, we strongly recommend spending more time on the course and at times perhaps previewing the course during summer school, redoing the course, but choose your math wisely. Next slide. Whenever you're looking at math, look at various programs to make sure that you are in the math path, the correct math path, because when you're in grade 12, you don't want to be stuck and you took a particular math path and now your career goal is to go into something else. It's impossible to go back and redo 3 courses. So look at the requirements early and choose the path that will lead to what you want at the end. You go ahead.
So just mentioning a few things about math, because I'm the grade 10 counselor this year, I have really emphasized with the grade 10s that both, if they have completed math pre-calculus 10 with a minimum of 50%, they have the option of going on to foundations 11, which is a university accepted course for the Faculty of Social Sciences. So a lot of kids who are saying to me they're going to go into arts or law or psychology, something under the umbrella of social sciences, even though they're strong in math, they are still choosing the foundations route, because really pre-calculus does take a lot of their time and it can decrease their success in their other courses if they're doing hours and hours of math. So, you know, a lot of students are now considering this, that the foundations pathway for those social science kids is actually a really good pathway for kids that want to go directly to university. Keep in mind when we talk about business, the business direct entry for UBC SFU right now is pre-calculus 12, but keeping and consider that each university does have their own requirements for business. Business is a large area, and we find that different post-secondary schools have different types of math admissions. And what was the other thing I wanted to say about the math? If you have questions and you're not sure what level of math your student needs to go into, please talk to a counselor or talk to their math teachers. They know the levels of the kids, they know the work ethics, and I think they can make really great recommendations for you as well. So
Okay. Oh,
Okay,
pass it
thank
to
you. Yeah, I'll take over. Thank you very much, Ms. Cara and Ms. Cipriano. Folks, there's a ton of information there that we went over, in about 25 minutes. And I just wanted to let everybody know there's about 172 different options that students can select between grade 9 and grade 12 at NDSS. There's a huge number of options between all the grades. So it's difficult for us to go through every single potential option. So I really strongly encourage you and any students who are out there listening tonight to jump on our website and have a look at the course selection section of our website. It's a tab that you can find right on the main page. And when you get to that section, you'll have all of these sub-tabs that you can see down there at the bottom that will go through a whole variety of different departments and subject areas. So if you're interested in art education, if you're interested in language courses, if you're interested in some of the things that you're going to see a little bit later on with Mr. Loy, those options are outlined here on this page. Okay, so I really strongly encourage you to have a peek. You'll notice that, again, I may have mentioned this. Oops, sorry. Let me go back there. There we go. You'll notice at the top of the site there is a little tab that says languages. If you need to have this translated for you, the website has the functionality to do that. So for those of you who might be more comfortable in a different language, try to use that feature. It might help with kind of understanding all the different options that we have available. Okay. And when you get into that that particular tab, again, you're going to see all of these different areas and the course descriptions associated with them there. This has now been updated. You'll see the date there says 2023, 2024. It's now updated to say course selection 2024, 2025, because of course we're looking at September 24 courses. So have a look, think carefully about the courses that you might want to try, and let us know in the course selection process, which we'll outline shortly, what it is that you would prefer to take over the next year of your schooling. And we will do our very best to build a schedule that tries to accommodate your requests along with the 1,360 other students' requests who are here in the school. Not a small feat to try to get everyone in as many classes as we possibly can that they are desiring. Okay. We're going to take a little bit of time now, and again, just a reminder to folks, if you have questions, please do throw them into the chat function, and we'll do our best to try to answer those as we go through the presentation. I'm going to take a little bit of time now to turn it over to Mr. Loyer, who is going to help us walk our way through some of the careers-based options that students have access to. So, Mr. Loyer, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'm just going to start for a moment before I jump into career programs, introducing you to this Education Planner BC.ca website. So this is an incredible resource to bring together all of the post-secondary information across BC. Regardless of which program or which school you're looking at, you can get information about the program, the school, the prerequisites for each program on this website. So if you go to educationplannerbc.ca, you can search by the program and the school that you are interested in, or if your student is unsure which programs to look at, you can see just by searching by course title, you can see all the different schools that offer that program in the province. You can also use the path feature at the top, the little yellow button there, to do some more exploring of different career path options and find out what might be a good fit for your student. Miss Robertson as well isn't here tonight, but she is our career and post-secondary advisor here at ND, and she works with students all the time on researching this platform, looking into what students need and helping them apply. So students are also welcome to make an appointment with her, and she can help them further. Thanks. Okay, so there's many career programs that are offered through the district that students can access through us at ND. The first one I'm going to talk about is work experience. So work experience is a course that students can take in grade 11 or 12. It is an X block, which means that it sits outside of their regular timetable. So students are still taking their regular 4 classes each semester and then doing work experience in addition to that. There is about a quarter of the course that is coursework with me, where students do assignments, research, and look into various career options. And then there is 90 hours of work experience that they do with a local employer out in the community. Students can engage in work experience in any field that they're interested in pursuing. So there is bullets here listing each of the fields. So basically, regardless of what their career path of choice is, they can do a placement in that field. We just look for an employer that is related to the career path that the student most likely wants to pursue after high school. Work experience is a really great way for students to get some really valuable work experience to put on their resume. It's also a really great way for students to explore a career path that they think they're interested in pursuing and experience it firsthand, as opposed to just learning about it or watching about it on YouTube, but being able to get themselves out there and right into the workplace to see if it really is what they expect it to be. And they get 4 credits for it as well. Okay. For students who are interested in pursuing a skilled trade, these are careers like plumbing, electrician, welder, mechanic, cook, baking and pastry arts. We have 12 different skilled trades that are offered through the school district, where students can start their post-secondary training while they're in high school. For any of the skilled trades, an apprenticeship, which is the training for a skilled trade, consists of 2 parts. There's the schooling classroom part, and then there is the on-the-job hands-on training component. For most trades, it's broken down to about 20% classroom component, 80% on-the-job learning. So there's options for students to get started with both of these components while they're in high school. The Youth Train in Trades program is the classroom component of a skilled trade. So as I said, there's 12 of these that are offered through the district. Students can apply to take train in trades while they are in grade 11 or 12, but the applications are due by spring break of the year before. So applications are open right now. Students who are in grade 10 or 11 now can apply to then take the program next year. Some of them are full year, half-day programs. Majority of them are second semester, full-day programs. So if that's the case, then students would take all their other required courses in first semester, and then in second semester, go to the location where their train and trades program is held. At North Delta, we have the electrical program. Seaquam has the cooking and auto program. Some of them are at KPU or BCIT, so each program is located in a different place and runs on a different schedule. So all of this is on the deltalearns.ca/careers website, which will be listed here for you in just a moment as well. And then we have the Work in Trades program, which is the on-the-job training. So to get credit for Work in Trades, students need to get hired by someone who is a Red Seal apprentice, and they get paid, they go to work, and they get high school credit. They get 4 credits for every 120 hours of work that they do in their trade, and their hours count towards their apprenticeship training as well. Okay. Here is listed the 12 different trades that students can take the Train in Trades program in. These are all the ones that are offered in partnership with the school district and the trades training provider. It's also very important to mention that the school district pays the students' tuition for the Train in Trades program. So if students were to wait and go into a skilled trade after high school, they can do that. Many students go that route. They then can apply to take their classroom training at one of the skilled trades training providers, and you pay your own tuition the same way you do for other post-secondary avenues. However, if students do the Train in Trades program while they're still in high school, then the school district pays their tuition for them. It can save you anywhere up to $3,500. All right. We also have 2 dual credit programs that are offered through the district. This first one I'm going to talk about is CAD, which is Computer Aided Design and Drafting. This is for careers that involve drawing out blueprints for things that are then going to go and be constructed. They use programs like AutoCAD and BIM software. This program happens in the evenings all school year while in grade 11 and 12. So again, students who are in grade 10 or 11 now can be applying for the CAD program for next year. And applications for this are also due before spring break. All right. And the other dual credit program is the Early Childhood Educator Program, or ECE for short. This one happens in the summer for 5 weeks, starting the end of June and into July. And this is for students who are interested in pursuing a career working with young children, whether it's in a preschool or daycare setting. This one also, dual credit means that they get high school credit for it, plus they get post-secondary credit for it. And with the ECE program, when students are done this 5-week course, they get a post-secondary ECE assistant certificate, which means they can then go out and work in a daycare or a preschool setting with that certificate while they continue on with the rest of their education as well. Okay, so for CAD, ECE, and Train and Trades, applications are due before spring break. I'm asking students to submit their applications to me by March 4th. All right, next slide. A very exciting other career program we have available is our Junior Firefighting Camp Academy. This one happens the week before spring break. Up until now, the applications were due in November, so a lot of students applied in November for this year's camp. We had 63 applicants for 16 positions across the district, so they've changed up the application process a little bit, and we're now taking applications now for next March's camp. So applications are due a year in advance. The Firefighting Academy is a 5-day camp that happens the week before spring break, so instead of coming to ND for classes, students go to the fire hall near Boundary Bay Airport, and they do all sorts of training that is very similar to what new firefighting recruits are doing when they get hired. So things like climbing up and rappelling down off the side of a building, using the jaws of life to open a vehicle, using fire hydrants and hoses, full turnout gear. It's all very fun. So that camp applications are now open as well, due before spring break for next March's academy. Okay, and then
actually, Ms. Lilly, I was going to come in and save you here because this is one that's just hot off the press here.
Okay.
So let me jump in if you don't mind. So we just learned late last week that the Delta Police Academy, which has been running for many years in Delta, is going to be offered again by DPD. So they've let us know that the program is going to run from at the very beginning of July for the first 2 weeks of July. And this academy is for anybody, much like the firefighting academy that Ms. Dolay just talked about, for anybody who's interested potentially in a career in policing or law enforcement. This is an opportunity to work with real police officers to learn what they do on the job, to learn about the career, to learn about what are the skills necessary to be part of the police force or to be part of law enforcement moving forward. We've received word that we'll be getting some more information about the academy very shortly, but I can say that we've learned that the first session is sort of open to any prospective interested candidates. It's actually tomorrow, February 21st at 3:15 at our North Delta track here. So very conveniently located for our North Delta students here. If there's anybody out there watching tonight who has an interest in policing, is interested in perhaps checking out this academy, we've been told that by our school liaison officers that folks can come by, meet with some of the other SLO school liaison officers in the district who are helping run the academy, and do some of the training that they're going to do on the track. They're going to do a bit of running, actually, it sounds like tomorrow, weather dependent, I suppose. But more importantly, perhaps an opportunity to ask some questions about the academy, about what it might be like, and about whether that might be a career option that some of our students are interested in. So again, 3:15 tomorrow at our our ND track. And again, more information will be coming out through our Careers Center once DPD shares that with all schools. But that's that one's just hot off the press. Sorry, Mr. Lawyer, for stealing your thunder there. So.
No, that's really good info. Thank you. Okay, so the last career program I'm going to talk about right now is the Aquatic Leadership Certification. This is a brand new program as well. Applications for this one are due tomorrow, so I have had a bunch of students coming in and getting applications forms for this one as well. The Aquatic Leadership Certification is for students who are already very strong swimmers. They need to pass swim level 6, and through this course, they get to earn their Bronze Cross, Bronze Medallion, Swim and Life Saving Instructor Certification, and First Aid. This one happens 2 mornings a week, Wednesdays and Thursdays before school, bright and early for the entire school year, as well as spring break, 1 weekend, and a Pro D day. So students need to commit to that entire program in order to take it. Applications, like I said, are due tomorrow. So if your student is wanting to participate in this one, they have until tomorrow to get their application form into me there. So applications are coming up very soon for train and trades, firefighting, CAD, ECE as well. So if your students are interested in any of those or you want to know more, please have them come see me very quickly because applications are due in about 2 weeks.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Mr. Lay. Much appreciated. Okay, so if you have additional questions about careers, there is a very important person who works in our Career Services Center named Ms. Robertson, who is our career advisor. She is hugely valuable for students who are looking at different career options, who are interested in getting some post-secondary information, and who are maybe looking for some guidance about what's required to get into the programs that they are interested in. Okay, again, these are some of the things that Ms. Robertson can help with. And in conjunction with Ms. Deloy, they form a real powerhouse careers department for us here at the school. Provide lots of guidance, particularly for our older students, about what they might want to do as they are getting to the final few semesters of their high school experience, and they're starting to think about their future and what they want to do in their post-secondary lives. So strongly encourage everyone who's here to connect with Ms. Robertson at some point in their some point in their grade 11 year and certainly in their grade 12 year to talk about what their plans are moving forward and what they might do to help support those hopes and dreams. Okay, I'm just going to take a real quick moment here. We've talked a lot about different courses, but I just want to very quickly do some of the nuts and bolts of actual course selection. And then we're going to turn it back over to our counselors briefly to finish off the main part of our presentation. We do have a little bit of extra information coming up for those who are going particularly into their grade 12 year, who are interested in hearing about acceptance into university and some scholarship opportunities, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I just want to let everybody know, as many of you know, we do our course selections through My Education BC. So all students have an account with MyEd. Parents also do have an account as well, but the selecting is done through the student account. And so students will need to log into MyEd BC and provide their login ID and password. Now, most students don't regularly log into MyEd, so if they are not familiar with what their login or their password is, they need to reach out to our office staff or to Mr. Nikic or myself to help get themselves set up for their password and their login information, and that will allow them to get into the system. When they get into their profile, okay, they need to click the My Info tab in the top left corner of the page. And under that, you'll see there's a little section called Requests. And when our system opens tomorrow, students will be able to begin to see the course selection sheets that have been prepared for them as they go into their next grade. So any grade 10 students, for example, will see the grade 11 course selection sheet and will be able to pick some courses that are in line with what they might need for their grade 11 program. Okay. When you click on those requests, you will see something like this. Okay, each grade is slightly different depending on what kind of number of electives there are, and as you I'm sure noticed as you get older, the number of selections and choice and variety increases. So this is very much what a grade 12 course selection page might look like. And within it, there are a bunch of different subject areas. When students enter the selection page, and it's not shown here because we focused in on the bottom part of the page, but at the top of the page, there are instructions about what students need to do. As long as students can follow along those instructions, they will successfully be able to pick the courses that they need. And when you select particular subject areas, you will be taken to a separate page for that particular subject area, which has those specific subject area courses. So you may remember, for example, that we talked in English 12, there are 2 options available to students, English 12, English Studies 12, and English First Peoples 12. So if you click that English subject area, it would take you to a page where you can select which one of those 2 you want to take. And within that subject area page, there is specific instructions about that particular subject, okay? So if you follow along the directions carefully that you'll see when you go into these pages, you will be able to successfully select the 8 courses that you need to complete your course requirements. We need what are called 8 primary requests. These are your main #1 choices, the things you want the most. We also need students to pick alternates, which is backup choices. If their main choices, their primary requests, are not able to be fulfilled, we need to have a few backup options that tell us what else they might be able to take if their primary selections are not available for some reason. Sometimes there's scheduling conflicts, sometimes the courses are just full and we don't get in. There's sometimes a couple of different reasons why we aren't able to get every single course that we want. So we need a couple of backup options, alternates, so that we have that information in case we need to pick a second choice instead of our first choice, okay? Very, very important. For most students, we need 3 alternates. For our hockey families who are joining us tonight, we ask that you provide 5 alternates. And the reason for that is, as we went over in our presentation just a little bit earlier tonight, the hockey schedule is a very busy one. And so we do find sometimes that having a few additional backup options is helpful in making a schedule for a student. I would say historically at the school, we've been able to satisfy a very high percentage of people's primary requests, but every year we have a couple of students, a few dozen students here and there that will need to take one of their alternates just because of the way the timetable has worked out, okay? So we do need that information, and that will help us build the best timetable we can. One other thing that's critical when you are making selections, or if you are going into the system to edit your selections, maybe you've changed your mind after a couple of days, it's still within the window of time that the system is open and you decide you want to change something, you must make sure that you push the post button when you are done making your changes. It's basically like a save button. If you don't push that, the system will not save your last selections. So really critical that you push that post button to make sure that the system saves your choices. That will give you the best chance of providing us the accurate information that you want us to know about so that we can try to get you in the courses you want the most, okay? There is going to be a session provided for our grade 8 students who are going into grade 9. It's going to be next Monday. We're going to have all those students doing a bit of survey work together. And at that time, we're going to provide an opportunity for them to go through some course selection because they have not used MyEd to do course selection before. So we'll have some very hands-on guided support for students who are going to be selecting their courses in grade 8, okay? For our older students, those of you who are in grade 9 or up, because you've been in high school a little bit longer, we're going to let you go ahead and see if you can make your course selections on your own when the system opens beginning tomorrow. But if you're having some trouble with this, next week we will be offering some after-school sessions in our computer lab right near our the counseling office, kind of in between the counseling office and the main office, to help students make selections if they're having trouble. Okay, so we'll advertise that with our school community over the next few days, and we'll set up some times next week for anybody who is interested in getting a bit of assistance in the if you're grade 9 through grade 11 in picking your courses. Counselors will be around, admin will be around to help support you with that that process. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn it, I think, back over now to Miss Cipriano, who's going to do a little bit more information about some things for everybody, and then we're going to take a little break as we transition to some more post-secondary focused talk.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about external credits. So students can obtain extra credits out of what they normally do in their schedule at school. The ministry would like to acknowledge and give credit to kids that work outside of school. Some of these things on the overhead here, on the computer, I should say, are listed. The more popular ones for the grade 10s will be coming up. Some parents will be paying for that driver's ed course for ICBC. If the kids complete it successfully, they can bring the certificate to school and get credits. First aid, life-saving, cadets, coaching. Some kids are refereeing in the community, piano, Royal Conservatory of Music, dance. There honestly is a lot of external credits out there that kids can get. I've got a big booklet. It's also posted on the ministry website. So if you feel like your student is doing something outside of school that they can get credit for, I would really encourage them to check in with their coach or their sponsor and ask them if they can get external credits through the ministry. Also ask your child to ask their counselor. We can look it up for them as well. So Delta currently has 4 academies. At North Delta, we have the Hockey Academy here. There are 3 other academies all located in Ladner. The film acting is at the studio at DMAC, film production and visual effects. So if you have a student that is interested in one of these areas, they can apply and get credits for doing the academy. The idea is that the kids spend more time doing something that is an area that they want to progress forward in the future. Please contact Delta at programs and academies online. Also see one of the counselors or administrators. We can help you find the site to get more information. Please consider that these academies do cost money each month, depending on which academy that they are doing. So that's a good option for some kids. The transportation is really up to the responsibility of the parent to get them over to Ladner for these academies. So online courses. In Delta, we have an online school called Delta Access. Please check our website for the availability of courses. These are courses that are grades 10, 11, and 12. Currently, we do not offer junior courses for grade 8 and 9. And again, if you or your student is interested, please get them to speak to their counselor about online courses. Again, this summer school will be moving forward just as in previous years. The summer school courses that I'm talking about are grade 10, 11, and 12 advanced credit courses, which means that kids will get a final percentage in these courses when they're finished. Please consider that absences are not tolerated in summer school. Anything more than 3 absences, the student will be asked to withdraw because it is a very condensed and shortened course already. So the courses are for 5 weeks in July and August, approximately 3 hours a day. There's a morning session and an afternoon session. And the registrations will be available online in April or May, depending on when the schedule is set. We will put on announcements at the schools to let the students know that online registration is now open.
I'm just going to jump in real quick here, Mr. Priano. Just a quick note for both online and for summer school courses. If you decide, or if your family decides to have your students sign up for summer school courses or for online courses that are the same as the courses that you have selected for your course selection, it's extremely important that you communicate that to your counselor. We have had situations in the past where students have signed up for a particular course for the coming school year, and then without us being aware have ended up going to complete that course through online coursework or through a summer school course, and then have come back to us in September and said, well, I actually already did that course. And we've had, again, very limited options at that point to switch their schedule around to try to get them into something else that they may want to take. So for us, it's really valuable and really important that students and families let us know if there's going to be a summer school course or an online course that a student signs up for that matches one of their selected courses for the coming school year. We want to be able to try to adjust their selections to reflect the summer school work that they're intending to do, so that when they get to their schedule in September, they're in courses that are actually courses that they still need to take or courses that they still want to take. So very, very important for families to and students to please let us know that. Thank you, Ms. Cipriano. So just a quick note about when course selection will be open. We are going to open the system, as mentioned, at some point tomorrow. There's no specific time just yet. We just want to make sure that our selection sheets are fully in order, but by the end of the day tomorrow, the course selection sheets will be available for students through MyEdBC. The system will be open for selection between tomorrow until March 4th. Students can select at any point in that window of time. It doesn't matter if you select on the first day that it's open or the last day that it's open. You still have the same chances of getting the courses that you want. So it's not a first come, first serve. It's just make sure that you have your selections done, please, by March 4th. And again, there will be some help sessions and opportunities to get help if anybody's struggling to get into their account, or if they're not really sure what courses they really should be selecting for next year. We will help any students in those particular situations. So again, students just need to make sure they've got those courses in there by March 4th, and they'll have an excellent chance of getting the courses that they would like. Okay. Now, we've been going for a little while here, folks, and so we're going to just take a bit of an opportunity to pause and see if anybody would like to type some questions, further questions into the chat. So we're going to take a quick 3 to 5 minute pause here. We'll start back up at 8 to 10. The remaining part of our presentation tonight is really going to be focused on post-secondary and scholarship opportunities. So this is really geared now a bit more towards some of our older families, older students and their families. So for those of you who have younger students who have been here with us, feel free to stick around if you wish, or feel free to sign off. We really appreciate you joining us this evening. And for those who are interested in sticking around for a bit of post-secondary and scholarship information, we'll start up again here in about 3.5 minutes or so. Okay. Thank you, folks. We'll be back shortly. Again, feel free to ask questions in the chat.
For those that are still there, I know there's a question about online courses in summer school. Just want to clarify that if student is registering at ND, that they should not be taking the same course online at the same time. We can't do that simultaneously, as well as if students are registered for courses online, we're not overlapping them with our courses. So that means that we expect all students, with exception to grade 12 students, to have full load of courses. So 8 courses built into their schedule. So students who are taking courses at grade 8, 9, 10, 11 level will have full schedule. They will not have study blocks or spare blocks, and online courses will not be counted towards one of those 8 courses. So I just want to stress out that for any students that are not in grade 12, so grade 11 and under, we will not use some summer courses or online courses as one of the 8 courses that they're registered in. Okay, so they have to have 8 courses. Unless you're in grade 12, then you can apply for a study with your counselor as well as Ms. Sahora.
There's a question in the chat about, I think the question they're asking is, are you going to be questioned about your choices if you took a course in summer school or online? No, universities don't question whether you took it online or in summer school. They just look at your overall average. What are the requirements on the employer's part?
Okay, folks, about one more minute and then we'll continue with our university and scholarship information.
For work experience, what are the requirements on the employer's part? Any paperwork for the employer? Yes, we have relationships with multiple organizations in the community that we already have contracts with, and we do. Ms. Deloyer runs pretty much worksite check to see where the students are going to be working at. The employer needs to sign off on that, as well as the parents. Parents are a huge partner in this relationship, and we ask parents to verify the placement as well. If we don't have previous relationship with a business, we suggest that families work with us in finding the correct placement. Normally what happens is family would suggest something through their family friends or relatives, such as law firms, doctor's offices, veterinary clinics, even hospitals or retirement homes, where students can get a placement that's very meaningful and valuable for them moving forward.
Okay, folks, given that it's 8:10 and we've been going for a little while, it's probably good for us to move on to the last part of our presentation. We will have a bit of time at the end for any additional questions if you can hang on until then. But as we've been saying from the beginning, please do continue to make use of that chat function, and we'll try to answer questions that you may have as best as we can. So I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Cipriano, who's going to take us through a bit of the post-secondary information that might be valuable for some of our older students who are starting to think about post-secondary.
Okay, in BC here we have many different opportunities, different schools and specialties of schools to consider. You can see some of the names above. Tonight I will do a bit of focusing on UBC and SFU because a lot of the questions come about those universities, and I'll also talk about college transfer programs. So student transcripts, it's not like the old days where we used to have to go back to the high school and send our transcripts to the universities that we were interested in. The government now has created websites for kids. It's called BCEID. And basically through this website, the kids can actually order their transcripts and send them to the universities that they are interested in applying to. It saves a lot of time. And when the universities ask for these transcripts, they will automatically get sent to the schools that they have applied to. There is a site there. Most of the grade 12s already know about this site. Mrs. Robertson has gone to classes and has spoken to them, and most of them have signed up. If your student has not signed up for this student transcript service through BCEID, please make sure that you let them know they should be doing this as soon as possible. So UBC has what we call broad-based admissions. UBC bases their admissions and uses a 50% scale for each of these topics: academic profile and a personal profile. The academic profile is used to measure their academic literacy assessments and also some other courses. UBC takes an average, well, they recommend that students have 6 academic, non-academic grade 12 classes, of which they will assess their final grades. if UBC doesn't have a final grade in of grade 12, they will go back to their grade 11 mark until they get a final grade 12 mark. For example, let's say a student's doing Math 12 in second semester of their grade 12 year. UBC, if it's for a science admission, they will look at their Math 11 final mark until they get the mark for their grade 12. Personal profile. There are 5 responses that UBC asks for, and they're asking for very direct, concise answers in very specific word allotments. And so the students will see that when they apply. Okay. Yep. Here's some tips for UBC. UBC is looking for a high GPA. I usually say every year the GPA for UBC does change. You're looking for sciences probably around 88 to 90% for general sciences. Arts probably about the same now. I would think that the more competitive programs like engineering are going to be higher. Computer science, those type of programs also require not only pre-calculus Math 12, but they also will require chemistry 12 and physics 12 as part of their GPA requirements. Having a strong UBC personal profile helps, and again, they are looking to see if kids can write in a precise way. Now UBC is scanning for Chat GPT. So they're scanning to see if there's any copying or enhancement devices, AI devices that are used. So kids should not be using those type of aids, because if UBC finds them, they will delete their application. Having a full course load helps, although it's not mandatory. They like to see a minimum of 6 in-school courses. Again, UBC, they like to see a broad range of academic applications. So they do not penalize kids for doing online. However, they do want full course loads. School involvement and community involvement. And this can be work experience, could be paid work experience, as well as volunteer experience. They like to see leadership and initiatives taken in the community, such things as Air Cadets, Girl Guides, lifeguard training. These are all great things. UBC wants to see very well-rounded students, not just high GPA students, but also students that contribute to the community and are part of their community. So you'll see, I just took this off of their website. Not much has changed here. You'll see under general admission requirements for UBC graduation, a minimum of 70% in grade 11 or 12 for English is very important to get into their first year English. Kids, they recommend, should have over 86%. So high BA, at least 6 academic, non-academic grade 12 courses. And there are also degree-specific requirements that I've spoken about, such as engineering that requires physics 12 and pre-calculus 12. For example, their business program requires pre-calculus 12. So please look over the degree-specific requirements for their programs. So this was an example of civic engineering at UBC. You'll see that the grade 12 required courses here are English 12 or English First Peoples. Now UBC doesn't care which English they take. I know I get this question a lot by kids, but really English Studies or English First Peoples are the same qualitative measurement for UBC. Pre-calculus 12, chemistry 12, and physics 12. So when you see those courses listed under requirements, all of those courses will be put into and calculated for their GPA entrance. Grade 11, you'll see that the courses, you will need the pre-calculus 11 or foundations 12. Most likely though, the majority of these kids, if not all, will have pre-calculus 11, chemistry 11, physics 11, English 11. I get the question about calculus 12. There's a course called calculus 12. Often kids will ask me if they should take it, especially for engineering or computer science. It is helpful to have, and some schools, if they have calculus 12, they will have one less course to do at UBC for math. So they need to look into that for their program that they look at. It could save them a semester. However, Calculus 12, because it is hard, very difficult course for some students. They will spend hours and hours doing it with possibly an impact on the rest of their courses. So it's always a balancing act, and every student is different in the recommendations that we give. So please ask them to talk to their counselors or Mrs. Robertson about these type of questions. Simon Fraser University is a very GPA-driven entrance. So they have very specific lists. I call them admissible courses. Their lists are lists A and B, depending on the program that they are applying to. Please refer to their website. You will see that some of the specific requirements for SFU, Arts and Social Sciences, the requirements can be Foundations of Math 11 and 12 or Pre-Calculus, Business Pre-Calculus 12, Science Pre-Calculus 12, and Applied Science Computer Engineering is Pre-Calculus 12 and Calculus 12. However, I think since this was posted, they may have taken that Calculus 12 down now as a requirement. Can you please check that? Because I think that might be from a couple of years ago. I just noticed that. Make sure to research any specific program requirements. And I know I keep saying that, but really this is important because also, as you just noticed, the requirements change year to year as well. So it's important that you double check the requirements well ahead of taking those classes. What is a university arts or science transfer program? So like Mrs. Kara was saying earlier, that some kids, they want to progress and go into science, but maybe their math is not very strong. They may have to go and upgrade their math skills. When students go to a college, let's use, for example, Kwantlen College, that is very close to us, they can take up to 60 credits, which is 2 years full-time of courses that UBC and SFU will give the kids credit for. So for example, a 60 credit course load would give kids 2 years experience, assuming they've taken all of the courses that are transferable. They need to look that up ahead of time. UBC SFU will take them based on their college marks. At that point, their high school marks are not considered. They'll take them based on their college marks. The average is, I think they usually say it's a 3.0, which is about 73% average in order to transfer over from a college to university. At that point, they would go into third year at UBC SFU. There is a minimum grade expectation like I spoke about. So I'm giving you a ballpark figure of about 73. Please look at the BC Transfer Guide for more details on transfer programs. Scholarships. Okay, there's a lot of information about scholarships. I'm going to run through these ones.
Mr. Priano, if I can just if you can go back one slide, just want to jump in to say that there's for this program, there's a lot of advantages. It's not just program, but it's actually any courses that you can take at college level can be transferable up to 60 credits. So students can transfer after first year or 2 semesters. As soon as they get 30 credits, it's possible to transfer to university. Your families will be saving tremendous amount of money by doing so, not to mention smaller class size at colleges than universities. Universities have anywhere between 400 to 700 students in first year in one theater, whereas colleges like Langara and Douglas, they have about 35 seats maximum in first 2 years. So any lower division courses that are actually not important for the grad school or any post bachelor programs such as teaching or grad school or medical school, law school. Any kind of grad school will look at only level 3 and 400 level courses at university level, which are not done at the college level anyway. So we found that in our experiences that a lot of students benefit from a smaller class size at the college level. Families save a lot of money by doing so, and it is easier to transfer from college to university than actually being admitted from high school to university. So there's just strengths of letting students know and encourage them to apply for colleges. Of course, universities are more attractive because of the marketing, nothing else. but there are equal opportunities, and it's not the end of the world or something as such that was a message to our students at times if they go to college. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of strengths in those classes and those programs, and if there are any other questions about that, please don't hesitate to talk to Ms. Robertson, Lisa Robertson, or us. We admin is also here to help as well.
Yeah, the other thing too that I didn't mention was that when the kids go through a transfer program, the requirement of language disappears, and also the math pre-calculus requirement disappears. They can work their way through their math and still do a really efficient and successful transfer program. So yeah, thanks, Mr. Nikic, for those points. So scholarships. So what I was going to say, if you go on the ministry site for scholarships, these are all listed on the BC Ministry of Education site. So I'm going to go through these quite quickly, but if you need any more information on these scholarships, for the provincial ones, you can go right through onto the website. So there are external scholarships that are offered by various businesses, clubs, and organizations that will donate money for students that want to go and progress through onto post-secondary education. Students from across the province will compete for these scholarships, and some information is posted in the ND Career Center website. Students are generally responsible for researching scholarships, though, on their own. There are so many scholarships, and part of the challenge with scholarships, or trick, is who is more resourceful in finding them, because there are many scholarships online, and some scholarships kids don't even apply for because they don't see them or they don't find them. So, you know, sometimes it's just the resourcefulness of the students that find the scholarships. At the school here, we will be having an application for community scholarships that I'll talk about that will be coming up after spring break for kids to apply to. So please make sure your students know to listen to the announcements and when we release those applications. And I will talk more about these other scholarships coming up here. So where do you find scholarships? Sometimes the place of work where parents work is really one of the best places to start. Check with your businesses that you work for, your employers, to see if they provide scholarships for your family. We had numerous amounts of students last year that applied through their parents' company to apply for scholarships. So the Career Center email, online sites, place of work, clubs, sports organizations, where you do your banking, cultural groups, religious affiliations, private public companies, and post-secondary schools. So again, part of it is just being resourceful and putting the time into finding the scholarships. The provincial scholarships program is what I mentioned earlier. These are the ones offered by the government of British Columbia. So I'll talk about these in the next few slides. We'll start with the BC Excellence Scholarships. Okay, so these scholarships, ND will nominate one eligible student based on academics, volunteer work, and leadership. Last year, there were 55 awards provincially, and they were worth $5,000 each. BC Achievement Scholarships. Provincially, there were 8,000 awards of $1,250. These recipients are determined based on achievement in grade 10, 11, and 12 courses that satisfy graduation program requirements, including electives. It's based on high academic achievement, and no application is necessary. They will be evaluated in British Columbia in comparison to their counterparts, and the top students will win these awards. The District Authority Awards, these are for students that focus their concentration in elective areas. The elective areas, they include the areas of fine arts, which is your visual arts, dance, drama, music, applied skills, business technology, and home economics, physical activity, athletics, dance, gymnastics, etc. International languages that we offer in school here, French, Spanish, Punjabi, community service, volunteerism in the school and the community, and technical trades training areas, as Ms. Deloye had talked about earlier. Each of these awards is worth $12.50, and there are approximately 25 awards. I think this year we're up to about 33 awards now. I think Ms. Robertson was saying that our district is offering this year. So there are many awards students, and they must apply for these awards through the application process that I'm talking about. The pathway to the teacher education scholarship is where are for students going specifically into teaching. There are $5,000, and there are 20 awards in this area. The secondary school apprenticeship scholarships, these are for students who are registered in a secondary school apprenticeship program and successfully complete 16 credits and 900 hours. There is a $1,000 scholarship, and it will be awarded automatically to these students. Entrance scholarships, these are scholarships that are offered directly by the post-secondary institutions for financial awards to attract the top students. Some of these are automatic and some need a separate application. Check with the institution you are applying to for these entrance scholarships. So,
okay. Oh, that's my cue. Thanks, Ms. Cipriano. Thanks, everybody. So a big thanks to Ms. Cipriano, Ms. Kyra, and Ms. Deloy for presenting this evening, and a big thanks to Mr. Nikic and Ms. Sahota, who were answering questions and providing a bit of input from time to time as well. So we've covered a huge amount of information over the course of the evening, and we've now finally gotten to sort of the last couple of slides in our presentation. So just a few quick reminders. If you're having some challenges logging into MyEd, which is one of the elements required for us to have students select their courses, we ask that students or families please contact the office to seek some assistance, or reach out to Mr. Nikic or myself. We can try to help with students who are trying to log in and hopefully get them access over the next few days as we open up our system for selections. Our counselors did an amazing job, along with Ms. Deloy, of sharing some of the options out there for students, and admittedly we went through them very quickly for the huge amount of options that are there. So again, I just refer everyone back to the course selection page on our website. If you do have specific questions about selections, or about what you as a student or as a family, what you're thinking with respect to what courses to select, feel free to reach out to the counselors listed below for some advice. They are divided up by grade, as you can see, so we just ask that you reach out to your specific counselor, ask some questions, ask about what options are out there if you have any questions, and again, make use of that website, that school website, and the course selection tab that's on there. For post-secondary questions, we mentioned Ms. Robertson, who's our career advisor, who wasn't here with us tonight, but helped immensely putting our slideshow together this evening. She's an exceptionally great resource when it comes to all questions post-secondary. So feel free to reach out to her. And of course, Ms. Deloy, big thanks to her for telling us a bit about some of the career options and the work experience opportunities for students. If you have questions about any of those things, please do reach out to any one of the people on the screen here to ask us. We are here to help you through this process. We have a period of time here where, for the next about 12 days, we're trying to get all this information. So it may not feel like a huge amount of time, but we can certainly try our best to assist during that period. And if there's adjustments that we have to make in beyond that 12-day period, that's something that we can do in terms of the selections that your child is making. So hopefully this was a helpful presentation. And if you have any questions that are still lingering, or anything you'd like to still ask us about, we will hang around for a few minutes afterwards. But again, a big thank you from all of us to you for spending a long period of time with us this evening. Hopefully this was helpful. We will post some of this information on our website. So if you have a desire to look back at the presentation, that will be an option for you. And again, feel free to reach out. So again, thank you, everybody. And again, we'll stick around for a little bit here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And if there are folks who still have questions, and would like to ask those questions, or would like to place some more questions in the chat, please feel free to do that we are here to answer any final questions you may have. Our pleasure, Santosh, and Ms. Jeffia. Thank you for joining us tonight. We do appreciate you sticking around to the end. Thank you. Anybody have questions? Again, you can throw them into the chat, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away if you're comfortable doing that in front of everyone. Any final questions, folks? Okay, well, thank you again very much for joining us this evening. And again, if you have any questions that do come up in the next few days, do please reach out to us here at the school. We are here to help, and we'll be happy to do that and hopefully make the course selection process as smooth and as easy for everybody as we possibly can. Good night, everyone. Thank you very much. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.